Hey everyone, I'm making a quick tutorial video on different network settings. I'm going to go over MTU and NAT type for online play in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And the reason for this is we're all kind of stuck with online for a while, so I figure this is something everyone should be doing, and if they're not, then watch this video and do it. So the first things first, and it's been shown a lot in Reddit comments and that sort of thing like a year or two ago, but MTU type is one of the first things you should check. And MTU type, not MTU type, MTU size is how many bytes a single packet of data can transfer before that data packet has to be split up and sent over the network. Now, by default, on every Nintendo Switch connection, the MTU type is set to, or the MTU size is set to 1400 bytes. Why that is, it might just be the standard in Japan as far as networking goes, but in North America the standard is 1500 and maybe sometimes higher depending on that sort of thing, where you are and what your ISP is, but generally it's 1500. So what we want to do is set MTU from 1400 to 1500, but we want to confirm first if your ISP supports 1500. And what you can do with that is a console command on any computer, and I'm going to show it through Windows, but through if you have a Mac or if you download ping tools for iOS or Android, you can do this as well through your connection. So I'm going to show that real quick here. Let me just bring up a new window here, and we're going to bring this up. So what we're going to do, we're testing if your ISP takes 1500 for the MTU size, once again in bytes. So we want to ping something. Let's pick 8.8.8.8. This is the IP address for Google's public DNS server. Then we want to set a couple flags here. We're going to do -F, which it tells the packet to not fragment for testing purposes. We're going to do .L, which is the packet size. And then we're going to put in 1472. And if it pings properly, then my MTU size, it can take 1500. And I'll explain why 1472 is equal to 1500 shortly. If we try 1473 here, this is what happens. Packet needs to be fragmented, but do not fragment flag set. And the reason why 1473 doesn't work is because that's actually 1501. 1472, I'm sending 1472 bytes of junk data. I'm sending 8 bytes because I'm sending ping. ICMP, which is ping, requires 8 bytes. And I'm sending my IP address, which is another 20 bytes. So 1472 plus 8 plus 20 is 1500. So that's step one. I now know that my ISP can handle 1500. So there's step one. Now step two. Let's go back to the Switch. You want to go into your, I'll go a little slower. You want to go into your system settings here. Go down to Internet and then Internet settings. And yes, you can see like my IP address and that sort of thing, but you can't really do anything with this info. Like, yeah, you could spoof my MAC address adapter, but it's specifically for this. Like, I'm gonna censor stuff that I know bad actors can do stuff with later, so no big deal about that. I want to go into the wired connection and change settings. And all the way down near the bottom is MTU. This is going to be 1400 by default on the Switch on any connection. So you set this to 1500 and it should work fine. If I were to set this to 1501, I would not get internet. That is MTU. Now there is one more thing we want to go over, and that is NAT type. A lot of people have really bad NAT types. So let me put up this black box because I'm going to show something here. Let's go with test connection. Watch how quickly that goes to success in NAT type A. NAT type B is okay, but A is the best. C, D, and E usually mean your connection is really bad and you're going to lag all over the place. So I'm going to show how how to get NAT type A. Actually, let's do something else. I'm going to show you how quickly I can do this. Let me hit this button, and let me retest. Watch this. Watch out. See, this takes a little while. Now it's NAT type B. That was how quickly I changed that. And the download and upload speed test took a little longer there too. So let's get out of there. I'll just pause it on this page for now. Let's turn off this. Oh, let's turn on those black boxes and turn this one off, because we are going over to my router, and I need to censor a lot of stuff on my router page here. Okay, here it is. All right, so there is a way to find out which, like what your router IP is. Going back over to this guy, if you type in ipconfig, you will get this default gateway right here. That is the IP address you want to put into a web browser. And that is how you get to your router's login page. I'm going to put this in. Boop. Not that one. Come on. Come on, LastPass. This one. There we go. Okay. First things first. You need to assign a static IP address to your switch, and this is for security purposes. So, you want to find your DHCP, which is, I think it stands for Dynamic Host Client Protocol. IT for 12 years. Still can't remember what that's called off the top of my head. And to find that, you go into your LAN settings on your router. This is going to look different for everyone. You got to kind of use a bit of your own like UI sense and figure out where this stuff is on your own router, or you can Google it. But as you can see, I have a DHCP start of 10 on the last octet and 200 on the first octet. So we're going back over here, and if you look in my internet settings, let me turn off these black boxes real quick. If you look at my internet settings for wired connection, change settings, the IP address is manual, and I have it set to 192.168.0.5, which is just below the DHCP range for my router. Okay, these black boxes back on, and then we go back here. So my switch will never get a range in here, and that's for security purposes. The next thing is we go over to DMZ, Demilitarized Zone. As you can see, the DMZ host, I have one host in the DMZ, which is the IP address of my switch. The reason for this is because a device in the DMZ is outside all of your router security. That is okay for a console that is never on and that has specifically locked down OS. You never want to have a computer or a printer in your DMZ ever. If you know that you can have a computer in the DMZ, well then you're obviously in the same field as I am. But for the purposes of this tutorial, you set a static IP on your switch outside of your DHCP range, and you put that IP only in your DMZ. So I'll turn this on, I'll hit Save Changes, we'll go back to this, we'll turn off these black boxes, turn this guy back on, and if I retest the internet connection now, it's going to immediately go back to NAT type A, because there is no security between this switch and the internet. It is just like, it is a direct line to whatever your ISP is. There's no routing involved. It's just DMZ. This IP only to your internet service provider. So that is the two things that I wanted to go over. One was MTU type, and the other one was how to get NAT type A, with a little bit of router tutorial in there as well, and security minds for it. All right, have a good one.